Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the October 5th Lewiston City Council business meeting. The first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, last week we had our youngest member say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think this week we'll go with the oldest.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, before we begin, I have a little good news that I want to share with councilors and the community. So back when LD 91 was passed, which was authorizing a railroad study to determine the feasibility of running rail between Lewiston, Auburn, and Portland, both communities agreed to provide a matching funding of 10%, and then the state was going to pick up the rest of the tab. So Lewiston authorized that funding earlier in the summer, and Auburn recently voted against providing that funding. So we had really limited options of either Lewiston funding the whole thing or finding another community to join us. So immediately after that vote in Auburn, I reached out to Portland Mayor Kate Snyder, and with a lot of help from Senator Libby, Kate Snyder agreed that that was probably a good idea. She brought it to our council, and last evening they voted to provide the other half of the match for that railroad funding. So that study will move forward. I'm really excited about that because having the two largest communities in the state providing the matching funding, that's going to mean something, I think, up in Augusta. Okay, roll call votes.
Sure, all roll call votes for this meeting will begin with the councilor of Ward 6.
Okay, and I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of all three of those this
Yes,
evening?
please.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of September 7th, 14th, and 21.
Move to accept them as read, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor Joy. Call the roll.
Councilor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. This is public comment period. Any member of the public may make comments regarding issues pertaining to Lewiston City Government. This period is reserved for non-agenda items. Public comments are also allowed during individual agenda items. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Please state your name for the record and if you're a Lewiston resident. Because this is a business meeting of the City Council, all questions should be directed to the mayor, who will ask staff to follow up for a future time. It is illegal for the City Council to allow comments related to personnel matters. All personnel complaints should be made directly to the administration. And finally, because we are now in election season, if a candidate is present and wishing to address the council on city business, we ask that you refrain from announcing that you are running for a specific position. Council business meetings are not the place for campaigning. Okay, with that said, the consent agenda.
Sure, there are 3 items on the consent agenda this evening. Actually, before consent agenda, did you want to see if any members of the public wanted to?
I should go to public comment.
comment?
Sorry about that. Is there anyone here wishing to make a public comment? All right, thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Consent agenda, there are 3 items on the consent agenda this evening. Item number 1, approval of election warrant calling for the municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, and recommendations from the city clerk, registrar of voters on actions necessary to conduct the municipal and state election November 2nd, 2021. Item number 2, authorization to accept transfer of forfeiture funds. And item number 3, order authorizing execution of municipal quitclaim deeds for real estate located at 7 Loon Drive, 8 Loon Drive, and 147 Oak Street.
Move for passage.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Khalid. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And I'll, with no objections, I'd like to move agenda item number 12 at the head of the pack. Seeing no objections, then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Suspend the rules and bring up item number 12 at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so we don't have to suspend for that, but the next item we will have
Okay.
to. Okay, thank you, though.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a motion?
Please.
Motion regarding City Council order dated October 5th, 2021. Order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Heather Hunter to serve as city administrator for the city of Lewiston.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table by Councilor Jelinas, seconded by Councilor Ray. Any questions or comments from the council? Councilor Roebuck?
Yeah, I would just like to say that during the interview process and looking at the application, all the work that was put in, I am incredibly excited to have Heather Hunter on board for it, and I think it's going to be great for the city.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Just would concur with Councilor Roebuck. Absolutely. Very fortunate as a city.
Okay. To the public? Okay, seeing none, back to the council. Councilor Ray.
Beyond just being excited about this, I truly want to thank almost City Administrator Hunter for all that she has done for the city in the past and will do going forward. I've learned so much under her tutelage in my almost 4 years here, and I'm sure the future councils and employees of the city and the city itself is going to benefit greatly from this, so thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, just real quick for the public. So once the vacancy of the city administrative position happened, we made Heather our interim city administrator. Then we put out a posting nationwide for interested applicants. And the council sat down, did a thorough review of all those applicants. Heather Hunter also applied in that round. But once we sat down and really looked at the available applicants, and although there were some that were worthy and good applicants, but we just honestly, as a council, believed that Heather truly had the strongest resume that we looked at, and that's why we chose to conduct a single interview with Ms. Hunter, who did an exceptional job and provided information for us that helped us recognize that our city is going to move forward around major topics like economic development, city services that we provide the community. We really truly believe that she's going to be able to pull together an administrative team and department heads and everybody having the common goal of moving the city forward around economic development and social issues as well. So thank you, Heather. Okay, with that said, call the roll, please.
Sure, Counselor from Ward 6?
I consider it a distinct honor and a privilege to cast the first affirmative vote for Heather Hunter. Thank you.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to add an agenda item.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Okay, move.
Mayor, did we want to do an oath of office?
Did you
Oh, yes, let's do that. Boy,
Swear her.
it's been a long day, thank you.
Oh, I'm right behind this.
You gotta get centered.
Get in front of the mayor.
I, Heather Hunter,
I, Heather Hunter,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
and I will faithfully
to
discharge,
the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent on me
the duties incumbent on me
as the city administrator
as the city administrator
for the city of Lewiston,
for the city of Lewiston,
according to the laws of this state
according to the laws of the state
and the charter of the city of Lewiston.
and the charter of the city of Lewiston.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to discuss an agenda item that is not on the agenda involving the vacancy of the City Council Ward 5 seat.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. With that, so I was officially notified late last night by Councilor Jensen that he was resigning his position as a city councilor, and in general, the resignation was related to a busy lifestyle around work and other areas. So we're disappointed to have to announce that, but it is what it is. It's been kind of one of those years this year. So with that, the council has a couple of options, so I open it up for discussion.
Should we vote on the motion first?
To suspend the rules?
Yeah, go ahead, call the roll,
Yes.
please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Suspend the rules.
Oh, yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So the motion was to suspend the rules and to have that
Okay.
discussion at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Discussion. Council Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as the charter provides, the council as a body has the right to accept nominations, make a recommendation, and confirm someone within 30 days. We just talked about this recently. Councilor Roebuck is familiar. And if that does not happen, then the mayor has to appoint someone to that position. I think, given the timing, we should open these applications starting tomorrow and aim to appoint someone at our next meeting. I think it is a real shame if the seat and that ward goes unrepresented for a period of time with us delaying that in any way. I believe our next meeting where we could take that vote would be October 19th. Yes, head nods from administration. And I would like to do that, in my opinion.
Councilor Clement.
I would concur with Councilor Ray on that. I think that it's important that every ward be represented, and the charter does spell out the methodology to be used. We have 30 days to fill that position. Otherwise, it shall go to the mayor, who shall appoint. I know we're precariously close to the next election, but we can still gain 2 to 3 weeks by making the appointment. And I say let's open it up, see who applies. It doesn't mean we have to, but let's start the process. I think that's the prudent thing to do.
Councilor Roebuck.
Yeah, without sounding too much like an echo, I'm with both Councilors Ray and Clement on that. Ward 5 is the most, densely populated ward. It's definitely deserving of a voice, and I think it's necessary to make sure that they are represented here, like every other ward is, and I agree that we should move forward with the applications and the appointment process if necessary.
Okay. Councilor Jelinek.
Another option would be, we have the election coming up on November 2nd, which is 4 weeks away. And, we could think about that, but I would be in agreement with my colleagues at this point, recognizing that Ward 5 is deserving of some representation during, a good part of that month. And the other thing is, the Ward 5 race, it's a three-way race, and I don't know how that's going to play out. So I would like to see it open to other candidates prior to that.
Councilor LaJoy.
Well, I was thinking more of the other option and waiting for the elections to come about. However, as Councilor Jelinek just mentioned, it's a three-way race. I had forgotten that. Thank you for the reminder. And it might be more beneficial for us to follow through, as has been stated at the moment, than waiting for the elections and then have a potential runoff, which would set it even further. So,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just clarify, we don't have runoff elections for council seats. It's only for mayoral seats. So even if it is a three-way race for city council, we would not have a runoff because it's whoever gets the most votes wins. The only potential could be a recount which would delay the results. But we don't have runoff races for city council seats, only for mayoral seats.
Thank you for the clarification.
So in that manner, I mean, I'll go along, excuse me, I'd go along with the, proposed move as mentioned now. However, I really would favor my suggestion of going with the elections. And at that time, whoever makes it could be appointed to the city council and get that early experience, if you will, on the council.
I as well think that would probably be the best direction to go, but it's clear that the majority of the council would like to see this get advertised. So I think staff probably has enough information from the council on that. Go ahead.
Just one further question. So October 19th is our next regular meeting. Is there something that would prevent us from taking this up on October 12th? I assume that's just a workshop night, but could we add a vote? I mean, how long was the application process open for Ward 2? I'm not sure.
5.
We try to have the application process open for at least a week.
Okay, so
Just so we don't disenfranchise anyone in case they haven't heard the information. So a minimum of a week, I think, is the preferred time frame. There is no set time frame.
okay. I think the 19th is probably fine, but just trying to make sure that we're a whole council.
Okay. So you'll do a 7-day or a 5-business-day posting on
We'll
or
have to take a look at
advertising?
the calendar. We could get the press release out tomorrow. We could ask for applications to be turned in probably by the 14th of October. And then we would have those in your packet on the 15th. And then we would need to schedule an executive session before the meeting on the 19th to review and discuss the application.
Okay. All right.
That doesn't give you much time.
No, but we'll have to do some heavy advertising, best we can, social media, and councilors can grab a hold of any posts from the city and share it on their own pages so that we can try to generate some interest. I think there will be interest. I think there are folks that like to serve but don't like the long-term commitment that comes with actually getting elected. So I think there are some folks down in that ward who are community activists, and so I think we'll get some interest in that. All right, good. Thank you, everyone. We'll move to agenda item number 4, please.
Sure. Item number 4, public hearing on a new application for a special amusement permit for live entertainment for Melissa's Pub and Grill, 675 Main Street. Requested action to grant a special amusement permit for live entertainment to Melissa's Pub and Grill, 675 Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Jelinas, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. With that, I'll open the public hearing and first start with the council. Any questions, initial questions or comments? To the public? Okay, back to the council. And according to the packet, we've gotten the nod from fire, police, and code, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
thank you. All right, seeing nothing from the council, call the roll.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes?
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, please.
Item number 5, public hearing and final passage regarding amendments to the general assistance ordinance regarding the definition and eligibility of recovery residences. Requested action that the proposed amendments to the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 46, General Assistance regarding the definition and eligibility of recovery residences receive final passage by a roll call vote.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, moved by Councilor Jelinas, seconded by Councilor Roebuck. With that, I'll open the public hearing. And we had a staff presentation on this at our last meeting.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Any questions or comments from the council to the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes?
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Agenda item number 6, please.
Item number 6, public hearing and first passage regarding an amendment to the administrative code regarding adjustment of elected officials' compensation. Requested action that the proposed amendments to the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Sections 2-76, salary of elected and appointed officials, receive first passage by a roll call vote, and that the public hearing on said ordinance be continued to the next regularly scheduled city council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. With that, I'll open the public hearing, and we'll have a brief staff presentation on this.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Part of the Charter Review Committee, they reviewed the current stipends paid to the elected and appointed officials, including not only the mayor, the city council, the school committee, as well as planning board and finance committee, and the Board of Appeals. And it's been a number of years since any adjustment has been made. Part of their review committee did propose a series of adjustments that are included in your packet.
Okay, and could you go over those?
Certainly. So the mayor is going, the mayor's stipend is going from $4,500 to $7,000. The city council stipends are going from $2,700 to $3,500. The school committee stipends are going from $1,200 to $3,500. Planning board and finance committee are going from $600 to $1,200. And the Board of Appeals is going from $600 to $900.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor Clement.
Mr. Mayor, I would say that the increase is well warranted. However, I believe the council should be moved up to $4,000 instead of $3,500. Given today's competition for all things, it is merely a stipend. It probably barely covers the expenses one has while fulfilling a term. And I just think for the mayor to go to $7,000, that's a 60% increase, an increase of $233 a month in the salary for the mayor, and I don't have any problem with that. But I do think the councilors should be up to $4,000, and I would not object to seeing the school committee at that same rate. I think that's the amount of meetings that are involved. We have 2 meetings, a minimum a month, with the exception perhaps of the summer session. We have workshop sessions, committee meetings, and I just think you're asking an awful lot. We're asking an awful lot at $2,700. But let's get it up there where it's somewhere reasonable and at least helps to offset some of the expenses one incurs. You're not making money in these positions at all.
Okay,
You need a second?
well, so,
Well, I would move to amend that. I put that in the form of an amendment.
yeah, let's check to see if there's a friendly amendment available to us. Correct, we all set with that? So who made the original motion?
Councilor Ray made the original motion,
Yeah.
seconded by Councilor LaJoy.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Do that.
Okay, so friendly amendment attached. So the appeals committee, can you tell us how many times they meet?
Typically, it's just once, but is that correct?
They're scheduled to meet twice a month. Depending on the year, they may meet once. This year, I think we've met 5 times. So it varies by year to year.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Ray?
Could you tell us what the net impact on the budget is? I'm sure I could have done the math myself, but.
Yes, with you changing it, though, that.
You're so good at math over there. I have questions about the Board of Appeals being raised at that level as well. I think my understanding from members on that board is we barely ever meet, or if they don't even show up to the 5 meetings, that sort of thing. And so I of course agree with council and school committee coming up a little bit higher, but Board of Appeals I'm not so sure about.
Councilor Jelinas, while we're waiting for,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask Administrator Hunter.
It's okay, go ahead.
And pardon if this was enclosed within the packet, but the amounts that were come to, was that based on some comparative analysis on cities like-sized? In our
Yes.
state of.
In the board, in the council packet, you will see there was a survey of various towns, including Auburn, Augusta, Bangor, Biddeford, Brunswick,
Thank you.
Portland, Saco, Scarborough, and Waterville and Westbrook.
Thank you.
And you're looking at approximately $30,000 on the budget.
Okay, and-
give or take.
only a portion of that would be applied to the city budget, the other portion would be in the school committee's budget.
Right, just the school committee's
Okay,
portion.
so
yeah.
maybe about 10 and 20. Okay, I had more to say. I think it's great that the Charter Review Committee took a look at this and made these suggestions to us. I think really get what you pay for sometimes in these positions, and as a person who has worked full-time and now goes to school full-time while trying to make this work and has a job downtown, like, it's a lot to juggle, as folks have said before, and so if it makes it so that these people can focus on Lewiston and what's best for Lewiston, I am all in favor of that. So thanks to that committee.
So, this is always a difficult thing for elected officials to talk about raising their compensation. But I will say, as an elected official who has served this community for about a decade, I've never seen an increase in that time. We've never asked, I don't think we've asked for an increase in that period of time. This, although everybody does this to serve the community, it's not about money. These stipends truly do not even come close to covering the time and commitment that councilors and the mayor and the school committee and many of our boards put into this. And I think it's long overdue that Lewiston reconsider the stipends, so I'm glad it's coming up. I strongly support this idea because we at least need to try to cover the cost for people who volunteer to run for office. In today's day and age, it doesn't come easy when folks aren't happy with your decision. It's no longer somebody just standing there and saying, oh, I didn't agree with you. It becomes an attack on elected officials on a pretty regular basis for serving the community. So with all that said, I strongly support. I will suggest an amendment to the appeals amount. So I'm just trying to find it in my packet. They're at 6.
They're at 6 now, going to 900.
6 to 9. Just, I think that should remain at 6.
Is that a motion?
It's a offer of a friendly amendment.
I would accept that.
And
Mike.
Councilor LaJoy seconded it. Okay. So we have 2 friendly amendments on the motion, correct?
Right, so it looks like since the movers of the original motion are in agreement, we would be changing the city council stipend to $4,000, the school committee stipend to $4,000, and maintaining the Board of Appeals at $600.
Okay. So, and I would encourage staff, if, in a year or 2, you're seeing the appeals board meetings go to what's kind of scheduled, or 5 or 6 meetings a year, then I think it can be brought back up. Thank you. So with that, I'll open it to public comment.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. Matt Roy, Ward 3. Mr. Mayor, I would respectively say that making amendments before public comment is something that shouldn't have been done. Granted, there is a 2-meeting step per charter to actually put this in the new code of ordinances, and actually reviewing the proposal that the now administrator has presented to the part at the end about going forward in future years, the Charter Review Committee doing this, that is not actually currently in the code, the section in the code that it's on the website currently. So it should be underlined as proposed change, first of all.
Are you done? Keep going.
Oh, yes. And as a former school board member, I totally agree, Mr. Mayor and Councilor Clement, being former and current representative of Ward 6, about the traveling costs to come down to City Hall in Dingley. I would totally agree with that. We should have equalized that it should have been equalized back in 1990 when it was last actually changed at a comprehensive level, except for the mayor, which was changed in 92 or 02. I know, I was going to say the memo in the packet was kind of vague. And also, I would disagree with the $7,000 for the mayor compared to the current $2,700 that councilors get. because the proportionality between the council and the mayor, you know, that $1 to the $1.67, or that 2/3 more, I think personally should be maintained. And of course, the irony is, by Councilor Kermit's motion of $4,000 for the school board and the city councilor, puts it on par with our county commissioners, actually, which is an ironic point, I'll just say. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just going to clarify for Mr. Roy, but the city administrator also has the information, so she can elaborate if you'd like.
Okay.
So we're looking at the review committee that has not been past the 30 days, is that correct, Kathy?
Right, so the language that Mr. Roy was referencing in your book, which is under subsection number 6, it's under the Finance Committee language, and it says, Charter Review Committee as defined in section 8.09 of the city charter shall review the compensation of the city's elected officials and if appropriate, make recommendations for adjustment. That actually has been approved by the city council. It's gone through first reading and final reading. It hasn't been at 30 days though since final reading, so that's why it's not on the website yet, but that language has been adopted by the city council, which is why it's not underlined in your material tonight.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, any other members of the public wish to comment? Okay, seeing none, back to the council. Councilor Roba?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say that, you know, in general, as someone who works in the service industry, and I've only been here a few weeks now, it's come to me choosing to take a full paycheck from work and miss out on the full-time hours, or be here or be at other commissions, other meetings I was appointed to. However, I do also feel that with the potential for me coming back next year after the election, I don't think I can vote on this, so I will be abstaining from the vote.
So just to clarify, you can legally vote on this because an election will be held before you.
Yes, but it's not the legal issue, it's that I don't feel comfortable potentially voting to raise like my own.
Okay, but it's not a conflict.
No, it's not a legal conflict, I understand that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Council from Ward 6?
Are we voting on the amendment, or the friendly amendment
Everything's in there,
is the
yeah.
motion? Yes.
Thank you. Ward 7?
Abstain?
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Abstain?
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
You're not Ward 4.
Oh, Ward 4, yeah. Well, it was going through the circle.
I'm sorry, Mr.
It's going to be one of those
Councilor
nights.
LaJoy, Ward 4, yes, okay, thank you. And Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passed by a vote of 5-0.
thank you. You know, once you start kind of messing up, you just hard to get out of it. But okay, agenda item number 7.
Item number 7, public hearing and final passage to rescind the contract zoning at 299 River Road and to amend the land use code and map to rezone property located at 289 River Road and a portion of 277 River Road, currently zoned rural agricultural, and 299 River Road, currently conditionally zoned neighborhood conservation B to industrial. Requested action to approve final passage to rescind the contract zoning at 299 River Road and to amend the land use code and map to change the zoning at 289 River Road, 299 River Road, and a portion of 277 River Road to industrial district.
So
Move for passage, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councilor Khalid, seconded by Councilor Clement. With that, I'll open the public hearing, and we had an extensive presentation recently by staff, and I believe the owner had the opportunity at that point to also share some of his thoughts. Questions or comments from the council? No. The public? Okay, seeing none, back to the council. Call the roll.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Agenda item number 8.
Item number 8, public hearing for approval of an outdoor entertainment permit for a live performance in Kennedy Park. Requested action to conduct a public hearing on an application for an outdoor entertainment event in Kennedy Park and to grant a permit for an outdoor entertainment event as required by the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Article 1, Section 10-3, for an outdoor live performance to be held at Kennedy Park on Saturday, October 9th, contingent upon positive recommendations from the Police Department, Fire Department, Code Health Officer, and Land Use Inspector regarding compliance with all regulations and compliance with all city ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Counselor Ray, seconded by Counselor Khalid. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none to the public. Seeing none, back to the council. Counselor Ray.
Just very briefly, I know I've said this before, but I want to say it again, and in praise of our new children's librarian, who has brought so much life to that department and to that work through the library. Just very appreciative.
Thank you for noting that. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 9.
Item number 9, public hearing on an application for a business license renewal for Merrimack River Medical Services Incorporated for an outpatient addiction treatment clinic at 18 Mollison Way. There are 2 items for requested action. The first item is to conduct a public hearing to receive citizen input and comment regarding the application submitted by Merrimack River Medical Services Incorporated for renewal of their business license to operate an outpatient addiction treatment clinic at 18 Mollison Way in Lewiston.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I'll open the public hearing. And could we just have a general update on how this relationship's been going? They've been in and licensed for many years at this point.
Do you know from the police side?
Yeah, from the police department side, although I'm not the acting chief at this point,
We
but
understand.
we'll do a yearly review of the calls for service, and I know that we have not received any issues that are occurring up there. Ed Barrett and I think, were the last ones to go up there. The way this ordinance is written, it's kind of at our discretion if we have to keep meeting with them. We were meeting with them regularly every year when it first started. Chief Bouzier started that, and I continued that process or practice. But we haven't had any issues up there, other than maybe a false alarm now and then when someone would open the door. So we haven't had any issues with that.
And I think originally there were some minor issues about where people are hanging around and stuff, but all of that.
Yeah, maybe
has been
that's,
addressed.
all that has been taken care of. Those folks up there are very receptive to any issues that have occurred up there. So that we have no problems up there at all.
All right, good, thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Next item is to approve the license for an outpatient addiction treatment clinic for Merrimack River Medical Services Incorporated to operate a clinic at 18 Mollison Way, Lewiston, subject to the attached conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Counselor Ray, seconded by Counselor Jelinas. Counselor Clement?
I notice on the application under mailing address, 1720 Lake Point Drive, Suite 117, Louisville, Maine, with a zip of 75057. That obviously is not correct?
Sure.
Or is it?
Right, you're correct, it's not correct, so we will clarify with them. I don't know where their headquarters are located,
Counselor
looking down
Clement, I
below.
believe that's Louisville, Texas,
Texas, yeah.
is what it should be.
Yeah.
It should be Texas. It's where they're.
Hard telling, not knowing, as we say, so.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none to the public. Back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Agenda item number 10, please.
Item number 10, amendment to the personnel policies regarding reinstatement of smoking policy. Requested action to approve the amendment to the personnel policies regarding the reinstatement of the smoking policy.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Ray, seconded by Counselor LaJoy. Questions or comments from the council? Counselor Ray?
Do we offer smoking cessation assistance to our employees?
Yes, we do. It's offered not only through an EAP process, but also through the healthcare educator program.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none to the public. Back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7 to 0.
Thank you. Agenda item number 11.
Item number 11, amendments to the purchasing policy to allow for a waiver of competition if it is in the city's best interest to use favorable bid pricing from a federal, state, or other competitive purchasing organization. Requested action to approve the proposed amendments to the purchasing policy, Policy Manual Number 46, as recommended by the Finance Director and the Finance Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor LaJoy, seconded by Counselor Clement. And just for the public, could we just have a real brief?
Certainly, this was brought before the Finance Committee recently. It just gives the city another tool in their toolbox to look at competitive bidding and matching up with some other area, both federal, state, local governments, if they have already sought RFPs and bid pricing. The problem is, right now, the way the purchasing policy was structured, it didn't allow for a waiver of competition to use those terms, so it just inserts that for the Finance Committee to evaluate those.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Counselor Clement?
Mr. Mayor, as said, it was a vote of the Finance Committee to do this. It became quite apparent in some of our dealings that if we are working with an outfit such as the federal government, state government that has the same or similar requests, and we have a much larger buying authority, the thing that was brought up by purchasing was the last, I believe, 3 pieces of fire apparatus. We were able to tag on to a major conglomerate in Texas and get pricing that they would have got down there buying 35 or 40 trucks a year versus our one every 20, 25 years. So it does present just an option, and it would be exercised, I think, only in those cases now where a waiver of competition is issued is when it's in the best interest of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none to the public? Mary Ann, you sure? Anything? Okay. Back to the council. All right, call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7 to 0.
Thank you. Agenda item 13.
Item number 13, order directing that the creation of a charter commission be submitted to the voters in June 2022. Requested action to approve the order directing that the creation of a charter commission be submitted to the voters in June 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Counselor Ray, seconded by Counselor Khalid. Questions or comments from the council? Counselor Clement.
Mr. Mayor, after careful consideration, I'm going to vote against this. I think we have several questions on the ballot in November. I say let those things go, see what happens, give them a chance. We can always establish a charter commission in the future. The danger is right now, as I see it, we vote on these amendments in November, they either pass or fail, obviously. A charter commission comes in and they could come up with something completely different than what we exist under today. And I think it's just too much confusion in a very short period of time. Therefore, I will vote against the creation of a charter commission. We've just had a charter committee that has gone at length through the document, has made several outstanding recommendations, and I think we ought to give those a chance to work first.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Counselor Ray, questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the information section, it talks about the August 17th council meeting and that Councilor Jensen expressed his support for this creation. I was not at that meeting. I would have expressed my support for the creation of a charter commission. I think while the Charter Review Committee did extensive and really thoughtful work, I think that our voters deserve representation in that process. And while the mayor appointed quite a representative group to serve on that Charter Review Committee, it is not exactly reflective of our voters and our citizens' wants and needs. And so I'm always for more representation, and I think this is one way to do that. And so I will be voting in favor of giving people their voices.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Counselor Roebuck?
Yeah, I obviously was not at that meeting, but again, if I was, I also would have voiced my support for this, and I agree with everything that Councilor Ray just said. I think that this is a great step to give more, not just representation, but just more transparency and accessibility to the government by the people, and I am always going to be in favor of that, so I will be voting for this as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Khalid.
I just want to comment that I am also in favor of a commission because we need to go beyond a thorough review of what the committee was able to do. And also, that committee is not demographic of and representative of our entire community. So we definitely do need a commission that can go in depth and figure out what needs to change, what needs to come forward. And I believe, that committee did what it did, but I think we just need to go beyond their recommendations.
Okay, thank you. So I respect everybody's opinion on this. I disagree. I think we just put together a charter committee that the public was welcome to engage. In fact, they truly went out of their way to solicit public engagement, and they did get a lot of public engagement. To turn around just after that work is done to say, well, we know you did all that work, but now we're going to do it all over again, I just think is a terrible message to send. I personally don't like the idea of having a charter committee. I think we should either decide initially whether we go to a commission or not, but it's in the charter and the voters supported that. So that's my general opinion. We just went through a long, lengthy process, and I think this is not the way to go. Councilor Ray.
So that is one thing I would hope that the Charter Commission would take under, that we get rid of this division between the review committee and the commission. I think moving forward with just a commission only would be, again, more representative. I laud you for your efforts and who you placed on that. I mean, Chair Barrett could not have been a better choice, but I do think there are parts of the community that were not able to be represented in those conversations due to one barrier or another. This also happened pretty much entirely over Zoom. Hopefully by June 2022, we are not in that world. We're already back in person here, which I think has enriched the conversations and the relationship building and the work that we have done. And so it is my sincere hope that June 2022, a group could be elected by the voters of this community and could do that work in an in-person way that is accessible to all.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Joy.
I'm also in agreement as to not having this go to the voters. I thought that at the very beginning, number one, when we had a committee, I felt that we probably should have gone with a commission. However, it was the choice of the council at the time to go with a committee. So in that sense, they did an extremely good job, decent, very thorough, I felt, and those decisions came forward to us, and we voted them in. I think at this time, to move this forward to the voters, just to get a charter commission to do the same thing again, is not warranted. I mean, has to be done every 10 years, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So in the future, if there's something that comes up, the council at the time can always bring it up again and bring it to the voters once again. So
Just to clarify, I think we did have to have the committee, correct?
We did
didn't
have to have a charter review committee.
Right.
That is defined in the charter, yes.
Then they would have recommended to the council whether or not we should go to a charter commission. And just so the public's aware, there are ways the public can insist on forming a charter commission. Can you explain, if you know it off the top of your head, can you explain how that is?
The state statutes define it. It would be a petition process. I don't recall off the top of my head the number of signatures needed, but it is defined in state statutes, and the citizens also have the ability to call for a charter commission as well, yes.
All right, thank you. Councilor Clement.
Mr. Mayor, I believe also the council could craft an amendment to the charter to put before the voters of their own volition. Is that not correct?
I believe so as well, yes.
It is, yeah. Thank
So
you.
if somewhere in a year or two, we decide that maybe a charter commission is needed, I just think it's too soon.
And I do too, and then, so that's important to note that, you know, a council in the future could say, hey, we don't want the committee option to be a mandatory one, and put that before the voters at any point. Is that correct, or?
I believe so, yes. I believe the council does have the authority to send any charter amendment to the citizens if they would like, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just
Councilor
for the
Simard?
record, Mr. Mayor, I would be in favor of eliminating the committee option and having it go to a commission in the future. But I just think, like I say, it's too soon to have one right after the other.
Well, you'll be on the next council, so that could happen. All right, so seeing no further questions or comments from the council at this point, to the public?
Matt Roy, Ward 3, I almost said Ward 6, going back in time. But anyway, given that the current charter was passed in 1979, I would agree with the left of the semicircle here that we should send this out. Again, November 1969, 79, can't get my numbers right today, was basically 42 years ago. So I would support the idea, and anyone who actually wants to run in next June during primary day, basically, because that would be when the election is, obviously, for those who aren't aware. I would actually say that probably every second decade or third decade, there should be a charter commission. Every 20 to 30 years, you know, society changes, you know, new ideas come forth where, and I would probably throw, you know, he can yell at me later for throwing his name in here, but I think Councilor Jensen would also, former Councilor Jensen now, would agree with that assessment, where every second or third decade, we shouldn't, because the Charter Review Committee in Charter has a very limited scope. It's a very inside the box, you know, we'll change inside the fringes in the box, where every 20 to 30 years, maybe we should just start over again and have a wholesale, everything's on the table review of the actual charter. Thank you.
So just a correction a little bit, I think we had a charter commission in 90,
Well,
2008, didn't Ed, I believe there was some type of changes in the charter that went to
I
vote.
believe it was also a charter review committee at the time, because
Okay.
those folks were
It's very important work. You know, we're looking at almost a year later by the time this vote takes place from when the committee came out. And I feel like, you know, the work that they've done is important, but it's work in progress. And I like the idea that, you know, we've all talked about commission versus charter. So I just want to be able to note that before I cast my vote.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Khalid?
And again, I'm supporting this because I feel like the voters should have the ability to decide if they want a charter commission or not. So it's going to be their decision.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
No.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
yes.
Ward 4?
No.
Mr. Mayor?
No.
Motion passed by a vote of 4-3.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 14, please.
Item number 14, order approving an opportunity for employees to participate in the Maine PERS retirement program as allowed by Maine PERS Rule Chapter 803. Requested action to adopt the order approving an opportunity for employees to participate in the Maine PERS retirement program as allowed by Maine PERS Rule Chapter 803.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. Questions or, oh wait, actually just a brief staff presentation.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'd like to introduce Heather Terrio. She's our new HR Director, so she'll be speaking on this topic.
Great, thank you.
So Maine PERS is allowing employees the opportunity that had previously declined to now elect as a post-tax basis. Given the abundance of paperwork that they're given as new hires, sometimes Maine PERS is overlooked. So if they had declined the benefit and then fully realized the benefit of mainstay retirement, this would resolve that issue and allow employees to change their mind at a later date.
Is there any additional cost to the city?
Yes, if they elect to join subsequently to refusing, there's going to be the employer match on the deferred comp, or I'm sorry, on the main state retirement.
But no additional cost? I mean, if
No.
they had chose to do that at the start, there would be the same?
Correct, and
Okay.
right now, there's no buyback provision for that, so at least it's prospectively only.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Seeing none to the public? Back to the council. All right, call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Agenda item 15, please.
Item number 15, order transferring of funds from Riverfront Island implementation to Lewiston Rowing for the purchase of a floating dock to be installed at Simard Payne Park. Requested action, order transferring of funds from Riverfront Island implementation to Lewiston Rowing for the purchase of a floating dock to be installed at Simard Payne Park.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Khalid. Questions or comments from the council? I'm really excited about this. This is a big deal. Councilor Rowland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and again, I am very excited about this too. I was at the Riverfest and the regatta, and it was, a great time, and I think that getting this thing, safely implemented really does allow for a great recreational opportunity on this great resource that we have, and it should be utilized, and I am emphatically in support of this.
Okay, so I suspect that and they're increasing the size of the dock from what it was. This is gonna hopefully get Cambridge people to start looking at Lewiston
Exactly.
as a possible rowing destination.
If you saw this Tree Street youth carry that 8-seater shell down to the water, you'll know that it was short.
Yeah.
So it has 9 sections, and we also added a section for kayaks. So that's not going to be in the way for the rowing, but it'll be another user that will be able to enjoy it.
So are there standards for dock sizes to get like national not national, but that next level up of competition?
Correct, the size shells that can fit. And we'll be updating the ramp that goes down to it as well, as part of the implementation for the waterfront.
And are there other investments that the city needs to be considering for Rowan specific to attract more opportunities, or is truly that it?
The head of the Charles gave some programming money as part of their grant, so part of it went to purchasing the dock. Brookfield gave $10,000, which was purchasing the dock, but there was another $20,000 that was given to programming. So they do already have some grant money to be able to have the lessons be free. So not at this time, but really a great partnership with the new rec department as well.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments from the council? Councilor LaJoy.
I'm quite happy to see this happening as well. I've been a proponent of the riverfront development for a period of time, and I felt that not enough had being done down there to increase the flow of humans, if you will. And so I'm happy to see that this will be an item that will bring citizens and/or visitors to the community, especially to the riverfront, which in itself should sell the riverfront development area. So I'm happy to see that.
Okay, other questions or comments? I just want to note this, so tonight we've approved, an activity at Kennedy Park. And if you noticed, over several agendas, we've had several organizations asking to use Kennedy Park, but we've invested significant money into an amphitheater down there. We're just not getting, either we haven't gotten to a place of investment there that the public really wants to go there. So I think we have to think about that to try to get more activity happen at Simard Payne Park. Or, you know, if Kennedy Park's the place, maybe that's where the amphitheater should have been built. I think not. I think there's so much in Simard Payne Park that we have to offer. We just gotta find a way to get that investment at a level where the public says, oh, that's where we want our event to be held. So something to think about. Okay, so I don't think I went to the public yet, and we're dwindling out, but, anything, Matt? Okay. You like rowing though, don't you? Oh. All right, back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Agenda item 16, please.
Item number 16, appointments of members to the appointments of members to the Housing Committee. There are 3 separate items for requested action. They will all be receiving the mayor's nominations, so I will read the mayor's nominee in each agenda item. The first motion is to appoint Jamie Cowett as a tenant representative to the Housing Committee, said term to expire January 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Jelinas. I think she squeezed in just ahead of you, Lee.
She's like that.
Questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, to the public. Back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Word 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you.
The second item is to appoint Felicia Hinckley as a tenant representative to the Housing Committee, said term to expire January 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. Questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, to the public. Back to the council. Call the roll.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
No.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 6-1.
okay, thank you.
And last item is to appoint Andrew Altmeyer as a Lewiston Housing Agency representative to the Housing Committee, said term to expire January 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor Roebuck. Questions or comments from the council? To the public? Back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Council from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Agenda item number 17.
Item number 17, appointment to the Lewiston Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. This would also be receiving the mayor's nominee and appointing the mayor's nominee to appoint, Zenaid Pedro to the Lewiston Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, said term to expire September 17th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Khalid, seconded by Councilor LaJoy. Questions or comments from the council?
Her name is Isnaida.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing none, to the public. Back to the council. Call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Ward 7?
Yes.
Ward 1?
Yes.
Ward 2?
Yes.
Ward 3?
Yes.
Ward 4?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Agenda item 18, please.
Item number 18, appointment of the city council representative to the Complete Streets Committee. This would also be a nominee from amongst a councilor to serve on the Complete Streets Committee.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ray.
I'd like to nominate Councilor Roebuck to the Complete Streets Committee to serve as the council's representative, said term to expire January 4th, 2022.
Motion by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Khalid. Questions
Do you
or?
accept that?
Yes.
Sorry, I was like, I don't
Yep.
know if,
We don't
Yeah.
have that.
I couldn't remember what the email said.
Yes.
Okay, questions or comments from the council? Councilor Roebuck?
This is one that does fit into my work schedule, so I am happy to accept it, but again, seeing as it pertains to me, I will abstain from the vote.
Thank you. To the public? Back to the council? Call the roll, please.
Counselor from Ward 6?
Yes.
Word 7,
Yes.
Word 1,
Yes.
Word 3,
Yes.
Word 4,
Yes.
and Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Motion passed by a vote of 6-0.
Thank you. Agenda item 19,
Item number 19, reports and updates.
Councilor Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So county budget did quite a bit of work last Wednesday night, I think it was. And we worked to reduce the proposed tax levy increase from 12%. We got it down to between 5 and 6%. County administration still has to get us final numbers and do a bit more work on that. But I will say I was surprised at how we got there. Folks from the committee suggested, and it was passed, that we rated a lot of the jail reserves, other reserve funding. And so I think the county will continue to be in a tough spot, but many of us as members spoke about, you know, the headline looks bad when ARP funding is at over $20 million for the county, and then we're imposing this huge tax levy. But because of the rules, there were some complications there. So we did the best we could. Our public hearing is October 20th at 6 p.m. at the county building. I welcome anyone from the public, anyone on the council to come join us as we navigate that and see if we make any changes. And then I, as the chair, will bring that forward to the county commission on November 3rd at 6 p.m. Or maybe 5:15 p.m. at the county building as well. And we'll see if the county commission accepts that as we present it.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports or updates? Councilor Clement?
Just a comment on Councilor Ray's update, 3 words, it's a start.
Okay, thank you. Okay, agenda item 20.
Item number 20, any other business councilors or others may have relating to Lewiston City Government.
Okay, Councilor Ray.
Just a quick note, so we approved I believe it's called Taste of the Harvest event as a council for the downtown community on October 21st. I heard today that over half of those tickets have already been sold, so encourage the public and members of the council to come on down and see us. I will be working my other gig that night with Sunder and Dram, and so it will be a really great event, and we're doing our best to prepare for that, and yeah, entertain everyone.
Okay, any other city business? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor Roba. Call the roll.
Councilor from Ward 6,
Yes?
Word 7,
Yes.
Word 1,
Yes.
Word 2,
Yes.
Word 3,
Yes.
Word 4,
Yes.
and Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
thank you. Good meeting, folks.